Hello and welcome back to our channel. My name is Jess, I am Archie's mummy and I'm also his full-time carer. If you are new to this channel, we basically discuss different advice, support and opinions on autism and what we do as a family to support Archie. I've tried to make this video like 4 times, my camera keeps dying, it keeps running out of tape, it's just an absolute nightmare. So I'm trying to buzz through this without rushing. So as you can see, we're in a new setting and that is because we moved house, which would also explain the large gaps between videos. Everything's fine, Archie's settled, and I will explain that a little bit more maybe in another video, but just not today. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about how we can support the people around us to support us. So that could be friends and family and partners. I'm going to try and jump in, but not rush through everything. So obviously when you get your diagnosis, the first thing that comes to mind is questions. There are so many questions. Questions that you may have, questions that your partner may have, that we can ask the professionals there and then in the diagnosis. But then what happens when you've got family members that don't understand? So that is when their questions will come in. So my advice to people who are trying to encourage others to support their journey is allow those questions. Don't be offended, don't get defensive, and just try your best, because they are also trying to understand it as much as you are. So if you don't have the answers to some of the questions, then be honest about that and just say, I don't really know. Obviously myself, I have a bit of experience with additional needs anyway, in working experience, and my sister does as well, so we kind of know anyway what we're dealing with. But some people may be going into this absolutely completely blind, and that's okay. So when people have questions for you and it's just a start, just say, look, I don't really know myself and I need to do some research. I always encourage research. It's not going to do you any harm, it's just going to benefit you. But yeah, just be ready for questions, because that's, I think, the first thing that comes with the support is they need to ask questions. Alongside that, I would say you need to be honest about your struggles, whether that is internal struggles or physical struggles, and just the struggle of everyday life as a carer. An experience I had recently was, it was the October half term, it was the first day, and because Archie was so used to being in school every day, he really wasn't coping very well. He didn't want to put his shoes and socks on, he didn't want to go out, he didn't want me to change his pad, he didn't want to get out of his pyjamas, he didn't want to eat. It was just a really bad Monday, and the way I dealt with that was I rang my sister Stephanie, because she knows me better and she knows what I'm dealing with. So I had to be honest with her about my struggles and the day I was having. But I also did that with my dad. I went to see my dad, I was crying and upset, and I said, I'm having a really bad day, I can't help you decorate the house today, I have to leave because Archie's really upset. So when you're honest about your struggles, you're essentially letting people into your life. And I feel like, personally, when Archie was diagnosed with autism, immediately I put up a barrier of protection and like defence, because although we protect our children anyway, I feel like because he had additional needs and was non-verbal, he couldn't protect himself. That's where that comes from, and a lot of the time it's caused a lot of problems when people have approached me with questions and opinions and things like that, which I will move on to. But be open and try your best to let people in, especially people you trust, yeah? So, like I said, I've had people who have come to me with their opinions. I'm not going to go into detail, but I've had people come to me with assumptions about where autism has stemmed from. And back then, it was like, no go, like not something to say to me. I was really defensive and really hated any talk like that, because I always kind of feel like a little bit that it's my fault that Archie is the way he is, because we are very alike. And Alfie's starting to display some traits as well, and it's been picked up at his school. So a lot of it is like, well, it must be me, because Archie and Alfie have different dads but the same mum. So there is that little bit of blame anyway. So I do anyway have that guilt and wonder, did I do something wrong to, you know, cause any of this? And when people bring up things like, oh, I think it's come from this, you get defensive immediately, which is perfectly normal. And I never dealt with that really well. But when people do come to you with that opinion, direct them to the right place. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. Just be honest about your feelings. But yeah, try and direct them to the right place instead of getting into that heated discussion. Another thing would be to allow people to come to appointments, which I know is really difficult right now because of COVID and everything else that's been happening. It's all changed. But I found that like Stephanie coming to appointments, or Matt or my mum, gives them a chance to speak to a professional that knows more, first of all, and second of all, they get to see what it's like they get to see firsthand what you're dealing with. And once they understand that, then they know how to support you better. So if you can bring people to appointments, then I highly suggest you do that. That's really good and beneficial. Obviously, you've got the use of Instagram. Show people Instagram, share pages, share websites that you come across, articles, anything that you see that you find beneficial, share it, because then they're reading it as well, and you're all on the same page then. The last thing I'm going to go into is the guidebook that I made. Now you're going to think I'm absolutely crazy. Basically, when we need someone to babysit or watch Archie, I have made a booklet called Understanding Me. So it's basically about Archie, everything that he likes, dislikes, his diagnosis. It goes into detail about foods that he likes, stimming behaviours, how to manage poor behaviour, meltdowns. It's really lovely, and it's just like different things like behaviours and calming methods. And then we talk about pet cards. So I've done like pictures of his routine so that they're able to follow the routine. And this just not only helps Archie when he is being looked after by someone else, which is quite odd for him, but also for the other person to feel a bit more comfortable, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And also, even if they just have it and they want to read through it, then it's nice for them to know what's what. So my mum has one, and Mattie's mum also has one, and then we have one in the house, so if we have anyone come in to babysit. But usually it'll be my parents, because they live here. But yeah, it's basically just works on everything. So if you have the time to make one of these, I highly suggest that you do so. It only takes an hour, and then you just print it. Simple as that. And it doesn't have to be as amazing as this one is. But yeah, those are my tips for supporting family members. I hope you like this video. It's really short and sweet, but please give it a like, share it if you think someone could benefit, like I said, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. Thank you.